In the heart of a sun-drenched meadow, where the vibrant yellow daisies danced in the gentle breeze, a soft white rabbit named Thistle made his way through the blooms. His fur gleamed like freshly fallen snow, a stark contrast to the golden petals that surrounded him, creating a picturesque scene that seemed to have sprung from the pages of a storybook. Thistle was no ordinary rabbit. He had a curious spirit and an insatiable desire to explore the world around him. Each hop he took was filled with wonder, as he paused occasionally to sniff at the daisies, their sweet scent mingling with the earthy aroma of the soil beneath his tiny paws. The meadow stretched endlessly, a canvas of colors painted by nature's hand. A gentle hum of bees filled the air, their busy work evident as they flitted from flower to flower, gathering nectar. Thistle watched them with wide eyes, fascinated by their industriousness. He often wondered what it would be like to have such purpose, to buzz around with a mission. But for now, he was content to nibble on the tender greens that peeked through the flowers, savoring each bite as if it were a delicacy. In the distance, the pretty little wooden house stood proudly, its weathered facade telling tales of years gone by. The house was quaint, with a slanted roof and a chimney that puffed out soft wisps of smoke, curling into the azure sky. Its windows were adorned with flower boxes overflowing with colorful blooms, and a small porch welcomed visitors with a pair of rocking chairs that creaked gently in the wind. Thistle had often seen the inhabitants of the house, a kind old woman named Mabel and her mischievous cat, Jasper. Mabel would sometimes sit on the porch, knitting colorful scarves and humming old tunes, while Jasper would chase butterflies, his antics making Thistle chuckle from his hiding place among the daisies. One sunny afternoon, as Thistle explored the meadow, he felt an unusual tug of curiosity pulling him toward the wooden house. The daisies swayed as he hopped closer, their bright faces smiling at him as if encouraging his adventure. He had always admired the house from afar, but today felt different. Today, he wanted to see what lay beyond the threshold of that inviting door. Perhaps there were more delicious greens to nibble on, or maybe Mabel would have a treat for him. As he approached the house, Thistle's heart raced with excitement. The familiar sights and sounds of the meadow faded into the background, replaced by the rhythmic creaking of the wooden porch. He paused at the base of the steps, his little nose twitching as he caught the scent of freshly baked bread wafting through the open window. It was a warm, inviting aroma that made his mouth water. Thistle took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead, and hopped up the steps, each one creaking softly beneath his weight. Mabel was seated on the porch, her knitting needles clicking together as she focused on her work. She wore a wide-brimmed straw hat that shielded her face from the sun, and her cheeks were flushed with the warmth of the day. Thistle hesitated for a moment, unsure if he should make his presence known. But the allure of that heavenly scent was too strong to resist. With a determined hop, he ventured onto the porch, his white fur standing out against the weathered wood. Mabel looked up, her gentle blue eyes widening in surprise. "Well, hello there, little one," she exclaimed, her voice warm and welcoming. "What brings you to my doorstep today?" Thistle's ears perked up at the sound of her voice. He felt an instant connection, as if she understood his adventurous spirit. With a soft twitch of his nose, he hopped closer, his heart filled with hope that she might share a morsel of her delicious bread. Mabel chuckled, a sound like tinkling bells. "You must be hungry. I just pulled a loaf from the oven. Would you like a taste?" Thistle's heart leaped at her words. He nodded eagerly, his little body vibrating with excitement. Mabel reached into a basket beside her, pulling out a small piece of warm bread. She held it out, and Thistle approached cautiously, his instincts telling him to be wary of the unknown. But the scent was irresistible, and he took the leap, snatching the piece from her hand with a grateful nibble. The bread was soft and warm, melting in his mouth like a cloud. Thistle savored every bite, his eyes closing in bliss. Mabel watched him with a smile, her heart swelling at the sight of the little creature enjoying her baking. "You have quite the appetite, don't you?" she teased, her laughter filling the air. Thistle looked up at her, crumbs clinging to his whiskers, and felt a rush of affection for the kind woman who had shared her treat. As he finished the last morsel, Mabel leaned forward, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "You know, Thistle, "I have a secret to share," she said, lowering her voice as if she were about to divulge something extraordinary. Thistle's ears perked up, his curiosity piqued once more. "There's a hidden garden behind my house, filled with the most delicious vegetables you could ever imagine. Would you like to see it?" Thistle's heart raced. A hidden garden? The prospect of fresh greens and crunchy carrots sent a thrill through him. He nodded enthusiastically, and Mabel rose from her chair, beckoning him to follow her. She led him around the side of the house, where a wooden gate stood slightly ajar. With a gentle push, she opened it, revealing a secret paradise. The garden was a riot of colors, with rows of vibrant vegetables stretching as far as the eye could see. Lush green leaves swayed in the breeze, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of ripening tomatoes and crisp lettuce. Thistle's eyes widened in awe as he took in the sight. He hopped forward, overwhelmed with joy, his little heart pounding with excitement. Mabel chuckled as she watched him explore, her affection for the little rabbit growing deeper with each passing moment. "Help yourself, dear Thistle," she said, her voice filled with warmth. "There's plenty for both of us." Thistle wasted no time, darting from one row to the next, nibbling on the freshest greens he had ever tasted. He felt as if he had stumbled upon a treasure trove, and every bite was a celebration of flavors. Mabel joined him, plucking ripe tomatoes and crunchy carrots, her laughter mingling with the sounds of the garden. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the garden, Thistle paused to take in the beauty around him. He had found more than just a hidden garden. He had discovered a friendship that blossomed like the flowers in the meadow. Mabel's kindness and warmth enveloped him like a cozy blanket, and he knew he had found a place where he truly belonged. Days turned into weeks, and Thistle became a regular visitor at the wooden house. Each day was an adventure filled with laughter, stories, and shared meals. Mabel would tell him tales of her youth, of the adventures she had embarked upon, and Thistle would listen with rapt attention, his little heart swelling with admiration for the woman who had become his friend. Jasper, the mischievous cat, often joined them, his antics providing endless entertainment. He would pounce on the daisies, sending petals flying, and Thistle would laugh, his little body shaking with joy. Together, they formed an unlikely trio, a rabbit, a cat, and a kind old woman, each bringing their own unique spark to the friendship. One day, as Thistle explored the garden, he stumbled upon a patch of wildflowers nestled in the corner. They were delicate and beautiful, their petals shimmering in the sunlight. He hopped closer, mesmerized by their beauty, and felt a sudden urge to share this discovery with Mabel. He darted back to the house, his heart racing with excitement. "Mabel! You have to see this!" he exclaimed, his voice filled with enthusiasm. Mabel looked up from her knitting, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "What is it, dear Thistle?" she asked, setting her needles aside. He led her to the wildflower patch, his little paws dancing with joy. Mabel gasped as she beheld the sight, her heart swelling with delight. "Oh, Thistle, they're beautiful! Thank you for bringing me here." They spent the afternoon picking wildflowers, their laughter echoing through the meadow. Mabel wove the flowers into delicate crowns, placing one atop Thistle's head. He felt like a king, parading around the garden with pride. Mabel adorned herself with a crown as well, and together they danced among the daisies, their spirits soaring high. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the meadow, Thistle felt a sense of contentment wash over him. He had found his place in the world, a home filled with love, laughter, and friendship. The wooden house was no longer just a distant dream. It was a sanctuary where he could be himself, surrounded by those who cared for him. But as the days turned into months, Thistle noticed a change in Mabel. She had begun to slow down, her laughter less frequent, and her once vibrant spirit dimming like the fading light of day. Thistle watched with concern, his heart aching at the sight of his dear friend growing weary. He would snuggle close to her, offering comfort in the form of gentle nudges and soft nibbles. But he knew it wasn't enough. One crisp autumn morning, as the leaves turned shades of gold and crimson, Thistle decided he needed to do something special for Mabel. He wanted to show her how much she meant to him, to remind her of the joy they had shared in the garden. With newfound determination, he set off, on an adventure of his own. Thistle hopped through the meadow, the cool breeze ruffling his fur. He ventured further than he ever had before, determined to find something truly special. He explored hidden nooks and crannies, searching for the perfect gift to bring back to Mabel. Hours passed, and just as he began to feel disheartened, he stumbled upon a grove of the most exquisite flowers he had ever seen. They were unlike any he had encountered in the garden, their petals shimmering in shades of violet and blue. The sight took his breath away, and he knew instantly that these were the flowers he had been searching for. With careful precision, he gathered a bouquet, each bloom a symbol of his love and appreciation for Mabel. As he made his way back to the wooden house, the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Thistle's heart raced with excitement, imagining Mabel's face lighting up when she saw the flowers. He arrived at the porch, breathless and eager, and gently nudged the door open. "Mabel!" he called, his voice filled with joy. Mabel looked up from her seat, her eyes widening in surprise as she saw the beautiful bouquet in Thistle's paws. "Oh, Thistle, they're stunning!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with warmth. He hopped closer, presenting the flowers with a flourish, and Mabel's face broke into a radiant smile. "Thank you, dear Thistle. You've made my day," she said, her eyes shimmering with gratitude. Thistle felt a wave of happiness wash over him, knowing he had succeeded in bringing joy to his friend. They spent the evening together, Mabel arranging the flowers in a vase, and the warmth of their friendship enveloped them like a cozy blanket. As the days turned into weeks, Mabel's spirit began to brighten once more. The flowers seemed to have breathed new life into her, and Thistle felt a renewed sense of hope. They continued to share laughter and stories, their bond growing stronger with each passing moment. But as winter approached, Thistle couldn't shake the feeling that change was on the horizon. The days grew shorter, and the meadow transformed into a winter wonderland, blanketed in soft, fluffy snow. Mabel's laughter echoed through the house, but Thistle could sense her weariness returning, like a shadow creeping in. One evening, as they sat by the fireplace, Mabel turned to Thistle, her voice soft and tender. "You know, my dear friend, life is a beautiful journey filled with ups and downs. I've cherished every moment we've spent together, and you've brought me so much joy." Thistle's heart ached at her words. He wanted to reassure her, to tell her that they would always have their memories, but he knew the truth of life's fragility. As winter deepened, Mabel's health began to decline. Thistle remained by her side, offering comfort and companionship, but he could feel the weight of the world pressing down on them. One cold morning, as the snow fell gently outside, Mabel gathered Thistle close, her voice barely a whisper. "Promise me you'll carry on, my sweet Thistle. The world is full of wonders waiting for you to discover." Tears filled Thistle's eyes as he nodded, his heart breaking at the thought of losing his dear friend. He knew he had to be strong for her, to honor the love they had shared. Mabel smiled, a serene expression on her face, and Thistle felt a warmth enveloping them both. Days later, as the first rays of spring sunlight broke through the clouds, Mabel peacefully passed away, leaving behind a legacy of love and laughter. Thistle's heart felt heavy with sorrow, but he remembered her words, the promise he had made. He would carry on, exploring the world with the same curiosity and joy that she had inspired in him. With the arrival of spring, the meadow bloomed once more, and Thistle found solace in the familiar sights and sounds. He hopped among the daisies, feeling Mabel's presence in the gentle breeze that rustled the flowers. Each day was a new adventure, filled with memories of their time together. He would often visit the hidden garden, tending to the vegetables and flowers they had cherished, keeping her spirit alive in every bloom. As the seasons changed, Thistle embraced the beauty of life, the laughter and the tears. He discovered new friendships among the creatures of the meadow, sharing stories and adventures, just as he had with Mabel. He carried her memory in his heart, a guiding light that encouraged him to explore, to love, and to find joy in every moment. The pretty little wooden house stood as a testament to their friendship, a place filled with warmth and love. Thistle would often sit on the porch, gazing out at the meadow, remembering the laughter they had shared and the lessons he had learned. He understood now that life was a tapestry woven with threads of joy and sorrow, each moment precious and fleeting. And so, Thistle continued to hop among the daisies, a soft white rabbit full of wonder, embracing the beauty of the world around him. He knew that Mabel would always be with him, her spirit dancing among the flowers, urging him to embrace life with open arms. In the heart of the meadow, where the bright yellow daisies swayed in the breeze, Thistle found his place, forever grateful for the journey they had shared.